Welcome once again to Auto Mundial, the weekly home of all the latest motoring news and reviews. This week, a fabulously elegant drop-top Grand Tourer from Maserati.
We've also got rear-wheel drive manual sports cars that are sure to put a smile on any petrolhead's face.
Plus, how do we feel about the new Ford Capri in, wait for it, all-electric SUV form?
That's all coming up. First though, the news.
In the automotive industry, climate change and CO2 emissions are constant talking points, and for good reason. With that in mind, almost every manufacturer has concrete plans to reduce their impact on the planet. The most recent company to announce its plans is NISSAN, with its so-called Green Program 2030. As part of its announcement, the Japanese manufacturer is looking to take measures towards dramatically reducing its carbon emissions and impact on ecosystems. Principal among which is the carmaker's commitment to increasing its ratio of sustainable material use to 40%. The aim by doing so is to reduce the manufacturer's reliance on new materials and to transition towards a more circular economy. Additional claims include reducing CO2 emissions of each vehicle's manufacturing process by over 50% and emissions of each vehicle over the life cycle by 30% by 2030. We'll let you know if Nissan manages to hit its targets in 6 years.
Crossovers. High-riding models with compact dimensions making for one of the most popular automotive segments on the market. But look a bit deeper and you'll find most entrants presenting as your everyday hatchback on a set of stilts. And no model proves that better than Toyota's entrant, the YARIS Cross. Bearing the same name as its low-slung sibling, the Cross also gets similar design cues to the hatchback, despite its slightly longer silhouette. The tall Toyota gets many of the same body folds and creases of the shorter Yaris, recognisable taillights and boot lid. A handsome little car, the Yaris is a fantastic base and makes this larger edition just as charming a design. The similarities between the standard Yaris and its Cross sibling continue rather dramatically to the interior, with, especially up front, seemingly a copy-and-paste cabin. Far from being a bad thing though, the soft dashboard design appeals to us and the instrument cluster always appears easy to read. Entry-level models come with wireless phone connectivity and a 9-inch infotainment screen, which grows to 10.5 inches in higher trim levels. That may not sound like a vital upgrade, but we would recommend it with the improved and more responsive Smart Connect operating system. Those more expensive models also get an uprated audio system and heated seats, among other less crucial additions. The Yaris Cross received a facelift earlier this year, but unlike most visual and tech-based refreshes, Toyota decided to focus on the model's power offerings, boosting fuel efficiency. In fact, the 1.5-litre hybrid unit sitting under the bonnet will get upwards of 60 miles per gallon, while sending 114 bhp to the front wheels. A more powerful 130 brake specification is also available, whilst all-wheel drive is optional with either. Though realistically, we see no need for anything more than the most basic variant.
One of the most popular segments in the automotive market, Toyota isn't the only manufacturer giving its hatchbacks a lift. Another model that has clearly gone through the same process is the Kia Stonic. Under the rugged looks, the Korean compact crossover is based upon a Kia Rio, though much like the Yaris Cross, that is something you can probably tell already. From its overall shape to the many similar details, it all screams the little Super Mini. Powering the little Kia is the same 1-litre 3-pot as found in several other of the manufacturer's products for just under 100 brake horsepower. A more Yaris Cross rivaling 118 bhp comes from a hybrid, which you'll want for its added fuel efficiency. Much like the Yaris, batteries under the floor limit boot space, with both models sitting around the 350-litre mark in low capacity. A rather low figure in clutch made worse in the Kia by a narrow opening. Move forward and the Stonix cabin is full of knobbly buttons that, whilst perhaps looking suboptimal, ensure you won't spend hours scrolling through touchscreen menus. Larger details certainly make the cabin feel smaller than the Yaris, though the screen itself is smaller at 8 inches without the option for a larger unit if you have the money. In fact, there are very few optional extras in the Kia, very much packed with tech and luxuries from the get-go. All the luxuries you can expect from a £21,000 high-riding city car, that is.
With just as short of an options list and potentially more kit included as standard, the Toyota Yaris Cross comes in at a pricier £25,500, somewhat overlooking the budget nature of the city compact class. But with its greater fuel economy, it may well be worth the money.
The embodiment of a fun-loving 2-seat sports car, the Nissan Z or Z name has lived a long life until this point, currently present in the form of the Nissan Z Nismo. But before this fantastic creation lie 55 years of history that the Japanese manufacturer is celebrating with this, the Heritage Edition. Deciding to leave the base model's brilliant recipe alone, this special variant still gets a 400 brake horsepower twin-turbocharged V6, 6-speed manual and power to the rear wheels via a limited slip differential. Flappy paddles and a 9-speed automatic are available as an option, much like the standard car. Instead of pushing the performance boat out, this Heritage Edition pays tribute to Z cars of old through its stunning orange hue from the original 240Z and several bodywork adjustments. The standard car's large intake grille on the front bumper now becomes a smaller, more attractive dual opening akin to older cars, whilst both front and rear bumpers are now slightly more shapely. Other throwback touches include the black decal running down the bonnet and roof, as well as the stripe along the door. Some chrome touches and Z logos complete the look, which we do certainly enjoy. However, we're not sure these minor aesthetic tweaks are worth the significant price hike Nissan is asking for its latest special edition car, especially considering the Japanese manufacturer has avoided mentioning the number of examples it will build. In fact, the Heritage Edition will sell for just under $60,000, so we'll choose to put our money into the $52,000 Nissan Z Performance, upon which it's based.
Sadly though, the Nissan Z is not available to purchase on UK shores. But fear not, as there is another Japanese sports coupe worth your while that you can actually buy in right-hand drive form, and it's the Toyota GR Supra. Another famous name, the Supra returned to the market in 2019, thanks to a development collaboration with BMW, as the Bavarian carmaker gave us the latest Z4. Visually, the Toyota is far more outgoing than the new Nissan Z, with its almost alien-like front end, pronounced curves and unique tail. With its long bonnet, the cabin very much sits on the rear wheels, offering a different driving position to your regular hatchback. Under said elongated bonnet is a 3-litre twin-turbo straight-six, sending 340 bhp to the rear wheels. Now, much like the Nissan, it's available with either a 6-speed manual or automatic transmission alongside a limited slip diff for maximising corner exit grip, all in the name of faster lap times on track. Inside, the cabin is very tight due to the low-slung roof and small windows, providing quite the racy feel. 3 different trim levels are available, with varying entertainment and safety equipment fitted as standard, but even in the lower specification, most modern features are present. Nice materials decorate much of the cabin, including optional carbon fibre trim and aluminium plating and soft-touch Alcantara. But really, when you're blasting your Japanese 2-seater through corners, all you'll really care about is the landscape itself passing you by at pace. If you're looking for a fantastically fun 2-seater of Japanese descent, we would recommend you act fast. With the electric age incoming quickly, the GR Supra's production is set to come to an end in 2 short years. It's available from £50,000 with a lesser 4-cylinder engine, or £57,000 for the model you actually want.
After the break, Ford brings back the Capri name, and we're not quite sure what to think of it.
Welcome back. Coming up, who fancies a grand tour in a fantastic drop-top sports car?
After almost 40 years since what was Europe's Mustang left Ford's lineup, the Capri is now back. But no, you won't see a modern-day CI5 pairing prancing out of the new model guns blazing. Instead, the most likely passengers will be a family of 4, as what was once the people's sports coupe is now an all-electric SUV with less than sharp looks. Certainly a sad day for those looking back on the nameplate's previous incarnation with fond eyes. The Blue Oval will argue that a returning name in a more consumer-friendly form is nothing new.
Either way, the new Capri is rapidly inbound to the all-electric mid-size SUV coupe market, a class full of stiff competition. One such model, the new Blue Oval, will have to contend with its Volkswagen's ID.5, with which the new Capri shares many underpinnings. Indeed, both models share the same 77 kilowatt-hour battery, but offer different motor setups, with the ID.5's rear-wheel drive focus providing between 170 and 300 brake horsepower. In all but its most powerful specification, over 300 miles on a charge should be a doddle, whilst fast charging speeds are definitely competitive. Visually, the ID.5 is about as bland as that specification sheet, taking the German manufacturer's typical soft EV styling cues and flattening them out to a coupe shape. The few details it does have, like this gaping front grille and the rear light bar, all help to expand the model visually. The interior also feels somewhat uninspired in our opinion, with a minimalistic design language spreading across the Volkswagen range. As part of its most recent refresh, the ID.5's 12.9-inch infotainment screen and instrument cluster both received software updates, improving usability, though with a distinct lack of physical buttons requiring a great deal of menu fiddling. We don't like the idea of living with the model long term. With new EV prices slowly becoming more affordable, the recently updated ID.5 now hits the market at just under £46,000. But despite sharing all the battery and electric motor tech, the Capri is slightly more expensive from £48,000.
For that elevated price, you may get the same battery that sits beneath the ID.5, but the Capri's electric motors haven't forgotten the car's nameplate, sending 285 brake horsepower to the rear wheels. An all-wheel drive edition is available with upwards of 335 brake. The additional power over its distant cousin doesn't seem to affect range, however, with Ford stating almost 350 miles even in the sportiest model on combined test, whilst lower power editions will easily surpass that. Visually, there's no denying that with the move to SUV form, the Capri is not what it used to be. But squint just enough, and you may see some of the classic's inspiration in the rear end. Inside, the Capri is a stark contrast to the Volkswagen's simplicity. The dashboard gets a nice shelf design, both making an interesting piece to look at, all whilst nicely integrating various elements like storage bins and the massive 14.6-inch touchscreen. Tech is aplenty in the new Capri, from heated seats and steering wheel as standard to an array of automated functionalities and dual-zone climate control. For its more engaging interior, we wouldn't mind spending the Capri's marginally higher asking price. But if you do have your heart set on the returning nameplate, we recommend waiting another few months, as a £42,000 model with a smaller 55 kWh battery is set to join the lineup later this year.
Wind in your hair, sun on your skin, power under your right foot, and feeling the ribbon of tarmac pass through your hands. In the peak of summer, what could be better than a drop-top sports car? This is the glamorous Maserati GRANCABRIO in its latest form, with sleeker looks than ever before. Rebuilding its roofless GT for the EV age, Maserati has taken the time to give it fresh looks that truly elevate what was once a baby Ferrari into a sports car in its own right. Yes, this new Trident-fronted model is built with electrification in mind. But don't worry, if you don't fancy the all-wheel drive 760 brake horsepower all-electric Volgore specification with its 2.7-second 0 to 62 time, 200 mph top speed and 280 mile range, there is still a petrol-burning Singer available for you. Under the GRANCABRIO Trofeo's bonnet is a 3-litre V6, good for 550 bhp, meaning it'll reach 62 mph in less than 4 seconds and get close to the 200 mph club. But really, convertible sports cars aren't just about performance, and this new GRANCABRIO understands just that. Get behind the wheel and you'll be greeted by a lovely cabin. In true Italian manner, the interior design is second to none in the new Maserati, with a fantastically sculpted dashboard, only the highest quality materials, and infotainment screen placement that certainly won't distract you from the road ahead. In fact, with those massive paddles and bolstered seats, you can tell this car is all about enjoying the road. But portraying a dynamic appearance, the new GRANCABRIO has just received its latest rival that puts the sport in sports car.
In its most recent 992.2 form, the Porsche Carrera GTS surely sets the benchmark for Maserati's new drop-top, especially also coming with a fabric roof. Unlike the Italians, Porsche is yet to fit its halo model with an all-electric variant, though in this GTS specification the 3.6-litre turbocharged flat 6 does get a pair of electric motors, one keeping the turbo spinning, the other providing an extra kick within the gearbox. Combining the best of both worlds, the new 911 hit 62 from a standstill in a stonking sub 3 seconds and will go all the way up to 194, all while shouting from the top of its lungs. Funnily enough, the new 911 looks very much like the old one, and the one before that. The German model definitely looks good, but up against the gorgeous lines of Maserati's newest creation, we would suggest it's a tad uninspiring. Inside is very much the same story as the Stuttgart designers and engineers clearly opted for a functional cabin rather than a pretty one. The centre console may have all the features a driver and their passenger will need on a long trip, but protruding knobs and dials can't rival the splendour that is Italian elegance.
Clearly then, the Maserati is the car that'll get heads turning as you cruise through towns on the French Riviera, all while turning mountain passes into pure joy. But that eye-catching persona does come at a price, with Maserati's GRANCABRIO starting from £170,000, while the all-electric Folgore is available from £185,500. Over £35,000 more than the Porsche 911 Carrera GTS, the Trident has got some answering to do.
Sadly, we're out of time, so we'll leave you with that conundrum. Make sure to tune in next time for a Nissan SUV modified to actually tackle the open outdoors.